obviously they were a team that pressed a lot, which, gave you guys on the back end some open shots. It just seemed like your teammates did a really good job of finding it.
Yeah, we worked on that in practice and stuff, so they just were patient, looked for open spots, saw me open, passed, so.
It seemed like they were kind of feeding you or trying to get you to 30. Was that kind of the goal when you checked back in with 4 minutes left?
Yeah, because by that time, as I sat down, they were like, when you get back in, you're going for 30. And that's when I had looked up and was like, oh, wow, okay. So after then, they just got it and started giving it to me, so.
Aijha, just first of all, how fun was it to be back out there?
Yeah, it was really fun.
And, what was just kind of your goal today? Obviously, you didn't play a ton of minutes, but, it seemed like you were effective and were able to get, productive minutes.
Just to get my feet back wet under me. I just know Sunday's going to be an important game, so just trying to get my feet back, and practice will help also, so that was it.
How hard were these past however many weeks,
I don't even know how to explain it. It was frustrating, for sure, but, my teammates and my coaches were very supportive, so I didn't really feel, isolated from the team or anything like that, so it was frustrating because I never had an injury like this, but it was good. Good to be back.
Does it make you feel okay?
Yeah, I feel good.
I think you might have scored more per minute than Buggs. You got that going for you.
Yeah.
Buggs, you've obviously struggled even with some bunnies and stuff like that. Your baseline jumper was really on. Is that something you had worked and the free throws too? Was that some stuff that you had worked on recently?
Yes, I know I wasn't the best at it at first, but I think my coaches, they've been telling me, let's work on this, get shots up, and telling me what I need to fix on it, and just lifting me up. So I just think, especially these past couple of weeks, they've been really emphasizing it. So I think I've just been taking that and go shooting and stuff and just implementing it in the game.
Aijha, yesterday, Bella called you like a big sister. And, just when you see freshmen like Buggs and Bella do kind of what they're doing, does it, you happy for them?
Oh, for sure. It's a proud moment. I feel like a mom a little bit. I've been through the trenches and all of that, so I see how capable they are and what they have. They probably don't even know how much they have in them, and I just see it, and I'm just very proud that they display it on the floor every night. So.
Aijha, going back to when they called your name, I saw you have a pretty big smile on your face when you stepped back onto the court. Kind of walk me through those emotions and what you were feeling there.
I was a little anxious. I ain't gonna lie. I don't really step on the floor anxious, but I was a little anxious. And I think just that feeling of the crowd just getting lit, and then my teammates, obviously, it was a good feeling. So, I was full of excitement. I couldn't hide it.
Speaking of the crowd, just how loud was it?
I had to cover my ears a couple times.
Yes.
But I'm so happy that they came out and they had a good time. So.
Yeah.
Aijha, not to give a scouting report or anything, but you guys play Arizona Sunday, big game, American Airlines Center, part of a doubleheader, or actually quadruple header, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that and just the chance, on a big stage like that.
It's going to be a big stage, top 25 matchup. We just got to come and play Baylor basketball. I just know Coach Adia, sorry, didn't even say that. And the way she plays, it's very tough. So, we got to just come with our intensity and just take over the game.
Are y'all picking, Jana's brain because she's played Arizona before?
Definitely going to have to see what that Pac-12 talk about.
Darriana, Big 12 Freshman of the Week earlier this week, and then you dropped 30 points. It's been a pretty good week for you, huh?
Yes, definitely has. I'm cheesing right now, so I'm really excited. So.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
By herself.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that from that perspective.
Buggs did that today. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. I'm really bad at rah-rah stuff. So to me, I look down and I think, we won by 66 points, and I don't think we played very well. I think 19 turnovers. I just think we were fortunate that this team didn't turn our turnovers into points. I thought we looked weak at times and a little indecisive, and just we weren't crisp. And maybe it was an 11 a.m., but we knew that this was what this team was going to do. They get the ball out of your ball handler's hands and then make other people make decisions. And you want to make good decisions because you've got numbers, So it's 3-on-2 or it's 2-on-1. You get the ball in the middle of the lane and you're, we just have to be able to pass fake high and go low and catch passes and lay them in and just be good decision makers. So I think my only frustration was that I didn't feel like we were forced into 19 turnovers. I just, I'm happy we won. And I think preparing against the press is good going into a game where we're going to see 94 feet of pressure against Arizona. I just think we have to handle the basketball better.
Back to Buggs, though.
Yeah, back to Buggs.
Obviously, she made layups, but besides that, she had that little wing jumper.
Thank goodness, right? Yeah. I mean, it's the shot that if you'd have asked me what's Buggs good at, coming here to Baylor, I would have told you elbow jumpers, especially if she can get to a rhythm off one bounce, short corner jumpers, and then just scoring around the rim, and being a utility Swiss Army knife type kid. And she just, I think she made one the first game of the season and has just really struggled to make them. And so I think you've got a kid that I really play a lot of minutes, and she's shooting 30% and all her shots are inside 15 feet, and you're kind of used to players that take the shots that she takes being around 50% or better. And so, just really good to see her have the ball, kind of go through the net. I think that was really important for her. And, I contemplated putting her back in the game. I wasn't trying to get her 30. She already had a double-double at that point. But when you look at, what you've got left, and with Kendra being out and at that point not wanting to put Sarah back in, Aijha's minutes were, expired, all those things. Like, it was just easy to put her back in that situation. And then it just happened, and it happened on simple plays, 2 layups. So, it wasn't like she was forcing it and taking shots out of rhythm. But happy for her. I hadn't thought about the fact that she outscored them because I thought we could have been better defensively too.
Aijha's return was a pretty big storyline too. How nice was it having her back on the court? And obviously it seemed like the intensity kind of picked up when she was down there.
Well, the interesting thing was, I put her in for Buggs, and Buggs had 8 points already or something, but it was about getting her in with Caitlin, because Caitlin makes things easier for everybody, and Caitlin turned the ball over 4 times, which I'm not real happy about. But I think she takes the pressure off. Like, if I had put her in for Caitlin, then she's in that constant decision-making role right away, as opposed to being at the end of the press and just being a finisher. So allowing her to play around the rim, allowing her to be a finisher. The thing I like the best, the thing you always watch for with players returning from any kind of knee injury is, are they uncomfortable in a crowd? Will they leave their feet? That's usually what you see if you see someone being timid. And I thought she got in and she rebounded right away. She attacked the basket. She took her time around the rim. So that was the best part, and I made up my mind, since she was on a 10 to 15 minute, 10 to 12 ideally minute limitation, of letting her play them all the way through and not having her get cold and play 5 minutes and a half and then try to bring her back in, so that she not only isn't getting cold, but she's also like working on her conditioning over that stretch. So, once she hit close to that 10 minutes and we were at a dead ball timeout, then that was it. So, it's baby steps, but it was a good baby step today for her.
Will her minutes be a little higher Sunday?
We'll go day by day. Tomorrow her mileage will be up. Saturday her mileage will be up. So ideally we can get into the 20-some minutes against Arizona. But we're really taking it day by day, making sure she doesn't have swelling after this game. Just we want to be careful because March basketball is going to be more important to us than December basketball.
As far as Arizona, pick Jana's brain at all? She's played them.
She had a good game against them last year. That was actually one of her two games that she really, really kind of showed out in. Arizona is really different this year, though, because when you look at their starting lineup, Jade Lavelle, we played against her when we played against Arizona State last year in Cancun. Lauren Fields is in the starting lineup. We played against her at with Oklahoma State last year. Esmery Martinez is in the starting lineup. We played against her against West Virginia twice last year. So, 3 of their 5 starters weren't even at Arizona a year ago. And so it's interesting watching them because as you see in games like today when everybody gets minutes and everybody plays, if you just saw us play in those type of games, do you really know who I'm going to when the game's on the line? Do you know what the rotation really looks like, that 8-person, potentially 9-person rotation? And I think before the Kansas game, a little bit against New Mexico, you started to see the bench shrink a little bit for them and see maybe what her substitution patterns were going to be. They have a really highly touted freshman class. Kaylin Gilbert has gotten considerable minutes. But past that, when you started to see them narrow, their rotation, suddenly those freshmen weren't getting a ton of minutes. And so, it's preparing for what does it look like when Kate Reese plays more minutes and Martinez plays more minutes and Pellington plays more minutes, and what do we do when Pueyo's at the point versus Pellington at the point? And so if you can tell, I've watched a little bit of film on them already. I think it's just I'm a basketball coach and I'm a basketball person, and they play in the later time zones. So even when I'm home at night, their games are all on the Pac-12 network, so it's pretty likely that I may be writing practice but have a Pac-12 game on at 10 or 11 at night. So I've seen them enough to know that we've got to take care of the basketball. I mean, I think they thrive in the first 8 seconds. They thrive off turnovers. They thrive on offensive rebounds. If you give them one shot and you don't turn it over, you got a really good chance to win. If you're giving them second and third opportunities and giving them points in transition off turnovers, then you're in for a long night.
Is that what Kansas did to them?
Kansas turned the ball over some, but Kansas did a good job. Like the one thing about them, if I'm big on assisted baskets, but Arizona's a little like Texas, maybe not as. I want to say this in the most kind way. Texas pressure can feel kamikaze at times. It is intense. These guys are there. It's maybe not as kamikaze, and both are good. Both are compliments. I think you have to handle their first level pressure on every made basket. They're going to be up and there. They're not necessarily going to run and trap you, but you're going to have to handle physical ball pressure consistently. And then, you're going to have to handle kind of their changing ball screen D, whether they're trapping, whether they're hard hedging, they're going to mix it up. And so I would compare them as closely to Texas in terms of their man pressure. They're a little bit different in their ball screen coverage, but they're tough. Like they've got some tough kids. Lauren Fields is tough. Pellington is tough. I mean, they're all transfers. Pellington played at OU and transferred there a couple years ago, but very different team than the team that played in the national championship when Ari McDonald was kind of both the creator and the facilitator and scorer for them.
Bringing it back to you guys, the freshman contribution from your team has been outstanding. Obviously, Bella with the 2 Freshman of the Week awards, and then Darriana this week, and then a 30-point game. What's that been like as a coach to see the young girls stepping up?
Well, I know at Baylor, freshmen haven't always had a huge impact, and I think that's a testimony to Coach Mulkey putting good recruiting class behind good recruiting class, and so it was hard. It was hard for freshmen to get minutes. It wasn't that there haven't always been good freshmen, But Liz didn't get a ton of minutes, her freshman year, key minutes, certainly in the rotation. But, had we had Dre Edwards eligible from the beginning of the year, or Caitlin not get hurt, or Aijha not get hurt, these guys probably wouldn't be getting the quality minutes that they're getting, and quality and quantity. It's quantity minutes, but it's also, they've had to be in down the stretch in games that were on the line. And sometimes that's been good, and sometimes that's been not so good. But I think they're growing up, and you always like to say by conference play with freshmen, they're not freshmen anymore, but they are. They're still going to make, Bella still gets better as the game goes along, and Buggs has missed shots at times, but I think it goes to show what they're capable of going forward as they build their skill, as they build their confidence, as they understand the game better. No one wants to be told that they don't know the game well, but there's very few freshmen that understand the intricacies of how they're being defended and how sometimes things look so simple to us from the sideline, and they get simpler the longer you play the game, but feel really overwhelming. You saw as the game went along, Bella missed an open three in the first quarter, and you saw her late in the third quarter catch it, rip it, one dribble, shoot a layup. Like, that's what she should have done in the first quarter, but not because she's not a great three-point shooter, but because it's so much easier against a team like that when there's nobody in front of you to get yourself a layup first. And then once you see the ball go through the basket, then all of a sudden her three goes, and then her next three goes, and now she's making a three off a bounce pass, which I don't like bounce passes along the perimeter to shooters. But, once you see the ball go through the net a couple times, it doesn't matter what kind of pass you give Bella, it's going to go in. But I think it's there's so much opportunity for growth, but I think if they stay humble, if they stay motivated, if they want to get better, they're just going to be really, really good over the course of their career here.